Hello and welcome to Ecoholics. In this small video, we will understand the concepts of budget deficits. Originally, it was 6 deficits in India, but right now we are left with only 4 types of budgets. So we'll see one by one: revenue deficit, fiscal deficit, effective revenue deficit, and primary deficit. These are the 4 deficits, very important for the examinations. So let's see. Now starting with the first one, that is the revenue deficit. What's the meaning of this? A revenue deficit is when we have revenue expenditure more and revenue receipts less. Now what's the meaning of revenue expenditure and revenue receipts? It means day-to-day expenditure and day-to-day receipts. So if government is not able to cover their day-to-day expenditure with day-to-day receipts, we have a revenue deficit. And this is one of the most serious concern, because in order to spend daily, government had to borrow that. Like for example, if you understand from the daily life, for example, we are eating food, we are filling petrol in our car, we are paying some fees or in the school or anything. This is a day-to-day activities. If we are not able to do that, it means it's same as that government is not able to do. So that is a revenue deficit. The next deficit is effective revenue deficit. Now what's the meaning of this word effective? Understand it very simply. Now if you see that in the effective revenue deficit, the money that central government gives to state government as their day-to-day expenditure, but that amount of money state government also uses somewhere in asset building. It means for central government it's a revenue expenditure, but from that money state government utilizes and builds asset. So on the same lines, it means for central government it's revenue expenditure, but for a state they are turning into assets. It means revenue deficit minus the states which are using those funds in order to create assets or capital expenditure. This is what we call effective revenue deficit. For example, from the daily life we will see. Suppose for example, your father will give you 100 rupees, and in that 100 rupees, according to your father, is of like revenue expenditure. It means you will eat something or you will spend with your friends. But from that 100 rupees, you will save 50 rupees as your saving in your piggy bank. That is the capital expenditure. You are saving that money for future. But for your father, 100 rupees is the revenue expenditure. Okay, I hope you can understand. This effective revenue deficit concept for the first time introduced in the year 2011 by the then finance minister, late Pranab Mukherjee. So I hope you can understand this concept is very, very important to see the effective amount of revenue deficit. Next is fiscal deficit, which is widely popularized, and we know that fiscal deficit is very important indicator to see the government of India's borrowing. Now in simple sense, when we see that budget is not in deficit, it means your expenditure are high and receipts are low. So revenue come high and expenditure is more. What we will do, we will borrow money to increase that and to make it at level. So budget is in balance. So there's no budget deficit. But the amount of money that you borrowed just to come at par, that is what we call fiscal deficit. So the formula of fiscal deficit is very simple: total expenditure minus total receipt, except borrowing. So suppose you have expenditure of 100 rupees and you have receipts of 93 rupees. 7 rupees you will borrow to make it 100. The 7 rupees is your fiscal deficit. Okay, we calculate fiscal deficit as in terms of percentage of GDP, and that is nominal GDP. The last budget deficit that we have is primary deficit. Now primary deficit means fiscal deficit minus interest payments. Remember the last example, 100 rupees, 93, 7 borrowed. Now from that 7, government of India has taken loan. And these loans are having recurring payments, interest payments and other. So from that 7 rupees, government paid suppose 2 rupees as the rent. It means the remaining amount, that is 5, that is primary deficit. So if the primary deficit is high, it's good for our country because we have less interest payment, because interest payment does not create any asset for the future value. So I hope you like this small video. If you like, give a big thumbs up to Ecoholics and this video, and don't forget to subscribe and click on the bell icon so that you will get the notification of future coming videos. Okay, so see you next time then. Till then, okay, take care, bye bye.